within your ability, within your knowledge, something even that I've already taught you guys that you're like, oh, that's really good, EmmaSara, but you haven't actually been putting it into practice. You haven't been keeping yourself accountable. Maybe it's something that you'd like to have us help you with here in our collective, keep you accountable. I want you guys to be looking for those elements, okay, that you're not going to have to try so hard to put them into practice because you know that you know about it already. You already know what you need to do. You already know why you want to do it. You just haven't made the time. You haven't made the accountability points, and you've been distracted. And that's why we're here today, because we're talking about focus. So, busyness activates the default mode network. Okay, so many people confuse being busy with being productive, which I mentioned before, but we have what is called the default mode network. And so this is reactive, scattered, self reflecting. Productivity activates the task positive network. So we have the DMN, the default mode network, and then we have the TPN, which is a task positive network. And this is intentional, goal driven, and the grounded part of our brain and our thinking, okay, in our mindset. And then we have here the scattered mind. We're constantly switching contexts, phone notifications, email notifications, whatever it is, you can put it in the chat. Anything that will cause you to skip out on whatever it is that you're supposed to be focusing in. If you have little kids, it could be kids are hungry, kids just got home from school, dog is barking, animals need to be fed. Whatever it is, there are always constant distractions that are happening. And it doesn't mean that these are bad things. A child needing to be fed, that's not a bad thing. It's a human element. Children need to be fed. People need to be taken care of, children especially. So what happens though is every distraction that we have during our focus time will actually cost us, and it takes us 23 minutes to fully refocus. And that was done from a study from the University of California. They put people on task, gave them a distraction, and they realized that every one of the distractions actually subtracted from their focus and getting back on track. So I want you to think about, like I'm talking to you in transparency, when I think about my tabs all open, everyone, and I'm not kidding when I say like 30 tabs, 25 tabs, it's true. I can really have a lot of tabs that are open. And so when I think about every tab, 25, let's say, is the number, those are 25 opportunities to get off track. And if I'm rifling through my tabs to work, say I have two that I'm really working on right now, I need two that are open, whether it's financial management, and I need the bank open, and I need this ledger open over here. That should be just back and forth. But if I have so many tabs open and I click on the wrong tab, and then I think, oh, I forgot that I didn't do that yesterday, whatever. And the point is that every time I have all the tabs open, I'm going to give myself a potential to jump off track, which will sideswipe me for a potential 25-minute decrease in delay of focus ability. So this becomes an emotional hijack and anxiety. Yes. Okay. I'm going to see Maria says I have a small to-do list in the morning, but almost never do accomplish it because I lose focus. Okay. So thank you for being transparent, Maria. Like, you don't even have to have a million things to do or all the things, I have 8 kids. That's all of those potentials for distractions. Okay. On top of the workload and whatever it is. So this is a fact. You don't even have to have a huge list of distractions or a huge to-do list. Like you said, Miss Maria, I love that you said that. It could be 3 things you're supposed to do today. It could be 3 things. It could be one thing you said that you're going to wake up and do and never accomplish it. Why? Distractions. So anxiety about the future and regret about the past keeps you in that DMN loop. Okay. And that is the default mode network loop. So we have 2 networks, default mode, and then the task positive note. Okay. Or network. So we should mention that the brain burns glucose every time it switches tasks. So not only is this just about a mindset situation, behavior adaptation, it is also a bodily function that is happening. Your brain is burning glucose every time it switches tasks to this, like, so I'm going to say from this tab to this tab, going from social media, I'm going to go over here to get a message, but now I've looked out 4 different reels, and that reel makes me think, oh, because I'm a fact checker, I just saw a reel and I'm like, I don't know if that's real. Now I'm going to go open a fact checking information. Now I've just gone over here because I'm not sure if that's really real or not. Total brain burn happening. Okay, that glucose is burning every time I switch a task, and it scatters focus, and it is literally, think about this, Maria. It is, when we talk about, oh, that's draining my energy, it's literally draining the glucose every time you switch tasks. And a lot of people don't even know that. And that was something new that I learned. And it's helpful to know that it actually is costing our body energy when we are multitasking or we're skipping out and allowing things to come and steal our focus. So, like I said, anxiety, anything, regret. I told Miss Maria this morning, I woke up because I'm transparent here, and some things get recorded here for replay, but this is why it's always important to come to the pre-class talks or the after-class talks, because those are the places where I'm the most transparent with our mentees here. So I told Miss Maria what was going on this morning, but there was there was an anxious feel in my person, and I had to identify that, and I had to come back to what I know, which is we need to make changes in the way that we're thinking. We have to make change in our behavior, and then we have to take some accountability. So without saying all that Miss Maria heard this morning, I will say this is that anxiety about the present, anxiety about the past, anxiety about the future, whatever it is, puts us in the default mode network. And this loop prevents execution because you're thinking about doing, not actually doing. I'll replay that. You're thinking about doing, but you're actually not doing. So, Miss Maria, you might wake up in the morning with the best intention. This is what I'm going to do today. EmmaSara, this is my to-do. I tell everybody every morning in the group, make sure you give me your I will, and everybody, should be saying I will. I want to get you guys back to that. I just got back from vacation, but I want to make sure everybody is starting with one I will, and I want you to accomplish that task. This is not just, making yourself feel good, patting yourself in the back in the morning, like, oh, I just did my check. I did the I will statement for the day, but then you're not doing it because what happens is that you get comfortable with failure. Okay, that is an accountability point. I don't ever want us to get comfortable with not following through, right? And when we make a promise to ourselves, that is failing even for a moment, but our failures do not define us. I'm not putting anybody down. We are all capable. We have all done it, but we have to be real with ourselves. And we don't want to be a failure to anybody. And we definitely don't want to be a failure to ourselves. Okay. So when we wake up in the morning, we have to have whatever it is that we're going to do, like that one to do, like I mentioned to you, but it has to get out of our mind and we have to do it. So it's not just about thinking, it's about doing. So you can write that down in the chat, not just thinking, but doing. Okay. Everybody has a great idea. Some people are dreamers. Some people don't have dreams. I know somebody in particular who has a really hard time dreaming. They have a hard time having a vision. They just want to eat, sleep, poop. I don't know, like eat, sleep, work, poop. Like just some worker bees, like drone, like, and that's like the standard American lifestyle. Like baby boomers just go to work to retire, go home. I should say they go to work, they come home, they put their feet up, they don't want to be bothered, watch TV, go to bed late, maybe they go to bed early, wake up, go to work, come home, self-soothe, watch TV. Now they have phones, and then they just do that till they retire. And that is the whole process of what they're doing, right? And there is no opportunity for growth, and it is a sedentary lifestyle. And you hear so many times that a lot of people after they retire, they end up perishing because they lost that drive, that was getting them up every morning to go to work. And when they stop working, their whole of their existence stopped because that's all they put their value in. And so what my hope is that you here today would understand that our life was created for more than eat, sleep, poop, work. I mean, that's just, I hate to say it. Like when we had babies that were growing up, when we had infants, we called it ESP, babies crying, ESP, new mama, babies crying, eat, sleep, poop. If they're crying, they need to eat, they need to sleep, they're tired, or they have a dirty diaper. And when we get older, if we're not careful, we add in the work element in there, but it becomes no different. And we're created for more than that. And we are created to be resourceful. We are created to be multipliers. God's word in Genesis says, go forth, take dominion of it, multiply. And we can go down the road of scriptures that we are supposed to be good stewards. We're not supposed to just work and think small and hide what the Lord's given us because we know God will take care of us. Like some people are like, oh, I'm just going to work. I'm just going to feed myself and God will take care of me. But it's a false humility and it's playing it safe. And God doesn't want us to play it safe. He wants us to play it faith. Okay. Playing it safe is not making any big moves. And it is just sitting there saying, well, God will do it if he wants to. Well, the stewards, the story about the sower and the seeds and I will say the talents, the parable of the talents. Yeah, we'll go there. There were the three servants that were given the talents. They were each given a certain amount. The first one hid it. The second one invested it. The third one invested a little bit more. And it was the one that took the greatest risk. It was the one that made the greatest investment that got the highest accolade. And he got what the one who hid it. Not only did they get the investment, they got the blessing of the Lord, but they also got what the person who hid it had. And that's why the scripture says, to those who don't have, even more will be taken from them. And to those who have more, more will be given unto them. And so this is, it's a sobering talk this morning because we don't want to be a bad steward. We don't want to be ineffectual. We don't want to be the person that's like, oh, I'm just trusting God and I'm just going to live small here and think that God is okay with I'm just going to hide it because God's God. He's going to do what he wants to do. I'm just going to, keep it right here safe. Nobody can see it. Nobody can touch it. It'll provide for me. I know where it's hidden. No, the Lord wants us to be multipliers and he wants us to not fear from the future. A lot of people fear failure, so they don't want to grow big. A lot of people fear rejection, so they don't want to try because what if I don't make it? Then that means that God wasn't looking out for me. It's fear. Okay, so like I said, whether it's anxiety about future, present, or the past, we need to get out of the default mode network. So the cost of scattered focus. When you are scattered, you will never gain momentum. You live in a reaction mode instead of a creation mode. If you don't make time to unplug, if you don't make time to utilize what has already been given to you, like I said, sometimes people are addicted to getting information. Some people want to go to every single conference, they want to go to every course, but that makes them feel like they're doing something, but they're not actually doing what it is that they're learning in the coaching. They're not doing what they are learning from the mass amount of information. We're all capable. I've gone through my seasons of doing that. The Lord had to show me like the same thing. And even now, like I said, even getting back, it was good because the Lord was just reminding me like, EmmaSara, you have so much information, you know what to do. Now it's about taking time to be quiet before the Lord and just say, Lord, I have all this information. I have all this training. What is it that you want me to do as I'm exiting this year? Where do you want me to put my focus? Where do you want me to put my energy? Because like Maria wrote there, it's not just thinking, it's doing. And it's not just about knowing, right? They say knowledge is power, but exercising the knowledge is power. Putting into practice the knowledge that you have is power. So You finish the day tired, but you're unfulfilled. This is also about scattered focus. I worked all day, but I accomplished nothing kind of feeling. Have you ever felt that way where you're just like, you didn't have enough time to do barely anything? Uh, so that means you were doing something. The question is, what were you doing? And if I could have you guys in a point of accountability right now, I would ask you, somebody's trying to get in right now. I would ask you to look at your phone. Okay, but maybe I don't know, maybe your issue is your phone, maybe it's not. But if you look up your phone app and you just look at how many hours you've spent on your phone this last week, I want you guys to notate that. I mean, if you want to share, you're welcome to share. If you don't want to share here in this drop down, you can do it within the group. But I want you guys to give me a time audit and just put that time audit because I want to check it. I want us, to be accountable. So I'm just writing this down here. So in the community chat, just put time audit. And listen, this is not about the shame game. I spend a lot of time on the phone. I go through seasons where I look at the amount of time I'm on the phone. Even though I have a media company, even though a lot of what I do is on social media, I still have to come to the place of accountability where I'm like, do I really need my numbers to be that high? And then you might be that person where you're like, EmmaSara, all my business is online. That's fine. Trust me, I understand. But I'm just telling you right now, if you want to grow into next year and you want to grow, and when I say grow, I'm saying you want to grow into next year. In other words, you don't want to start the year at a deficit. You don't want to start the year feeling like you didn't accomplish what you set out to do. If you want to, if you don't want to start, I should say, the year feeling like you have loose ends, then it is important to say, you know what, don't make excuses. Bottom line is this, what I'm telling you guys is don't make excuses for whatever it is your time audit is. Do not make an excuse. Okay. So that is one thing I want you guys to do. And no matter what it is, no matter what the reason is that you guys have a lot of hours, just remember this, you can decrease it. And what I want you to do is ask the Lord, how can I decrease this time? And how can I make it more profitable? And that could be money profitable. It could mean, how can you make it more profitable as far as how can you get the best value for your time on social media, whatever it is, okay? And when you looked at your phone app on your time on it, it will tell you how much time you used on your Facebook app. It'll show you how much time you're using on email, the circle group, or whatever. So I want you to do a full time audit. If you find one area is really high, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's IG, then make sure you take a note or take a screenshot of it actually. That way you can see a measurable result by making some changes. After you do your time audit on social, I want you to report back to us those numbers. And then I want you to give us a goal of what you want to do as far as decreasing that time. What do you want it to look like for the next week? And then I want you to create a plan of what that looks like. You might say, I'm only going to be on social media for 1 hour. Say you've been on it 3 hours a day. I'm only going to be on it 1 hour a day. And then if you really want to get very, very strategic, you can say, I am going to have a 2 to 3. I'm going to be on there for the sole purpose of brand building. It could be to minister. If you're not building a business, Miss Marie, you could be like, I'm going to be on there for the sole purpose of winning people to Christ. I'm going to be on there and I'm going to do a post. I'm going to do an evangelistic type of post. I'm going to do a value post to speak into my family's lives, to my Facebook family's lives. You get the point. Right now, it's about ending the year strong. It's about ending the year with focus. It's about ending the year making a difference in people's lives. But it's also very important that we recapture time, that we go into this next year moving the needle, okay? So if you have finished the day tired but unfulfilled, you need to relook, you need to recalibrate. And I told you guys we're going to do a reset challenge. So we are going to do that in this group. And I do plan to do work sessions while we're doing the reset challenge. That means for 30 minutes a day. We used to do this a couple of years ago, Miss Maria, where we used to do work sessions. We would come in, we would check in for 30 minutes, and I would do like a 5 minute talk. And then you guys would tell me what you're going to work on for that 30 minutes. And I've seen so many of you guys do so many great things in 30 minutes that I think it's a great way for us to be ending this year with a refocus challenge, resetting. Okay. And so, how do we end the year strong? We need to zoom in, don't zoom out. Okay. So, we need to zoom in. People get overwhelmed because they're looking at everything. Okay. Do you ever wake up in the morning and be like, I don't even know where to begin? You're having family issues, you're having marital issues, you're having financial issues, you're having health issues, whatever it is. The dog's barking really loud at the same time. I don't know. Okay. But all of a sudden you wake up and it's just so much noise. And it's so important right now to choose one mission critical goal that will move the needle. Just one. Choose one mission centered goal. If you don't know your mission, then you need to have a mission. You need to figure that out. You guys know I have my book, Passion, Purpose, Time Management. I go through how to make a family mission statement in there. And it's very crucial that you have a why, that you have a reason for why you do what you do. But it's also important for your family to know as a unit, what your family's mission is together, because that keeps you guys united in everything you do. My husband and I, there's a lot of things that we could have, that we need help on, a lot relationally that we need help on. But I'll tell you what does unite us is that we do have a mission to raise godly children, to raise children who will be the salt and light of the earth, and to be fully be parents that are there, that are being a good example of godliness to them. And so even though him and I we're not always on the same plateau in our marriage, relationally, we need a lot of help working with each other. But because at least we have one goal when it comes to raising our kids unitedly, then that goes a long way. Okay. So in this time while we're coming to the end of the year, I want you to think about your focus. I want you to think about your mission, your personal mission, your family mission, and then what it is that you need to remove. Okay. What distractions do you need to remove from your life? There are a lot of things that don't need to be in the daily, in the daily recipe for success right now. And so you need to figure that out. What you need to cut out the fat. What is it that you can cut out during this focus reset challenge that we're going to be doing? What is the thing that is just sucking up your time? Maybe you're sleeping too much. Maybe that is causing you to lose focus, because now you're sleeping so much that you are taking away the productivity hours of your morning because you're oversleeping. If that is you, anybody on replay, then I want to encourage you to not hit the snooze button. And if you are tempted to hit the snooze button, in the past, I've gone through so many different stages of my life, and having kids and being tired and being sick, very sick. I went through all kinds of different stages. So in the time that I was really having a hard time waking up in the morning, I would put back in the day, we always just had an alarm clock, right? Now everybody knows we use phones to wake up. And I have tried that as well. Seems like everybody has really bright. I have an aversion to light in my room. So I hate any type of light. It's like the Batcave when I sleep. I have really dark curtains, really dark room. I use the phone. If it is a problem, if I go through season and I'm having a hard time waking up in the morning, I have a really loud, obnoxious song, or not a song, it's from a conference. If I let you listen to it, it's super loud and obnoxious. Everybody hates it. But I'll put it on the opposite end, or I'll put it in my bathroom super loud. So when it goes off, I will absolutely hear it, but I have to get up and I have to go turn it off. And so the whole point is get up, turn it off, do not go back to bed. Okay. All right. No sugar. Oh, so you're on a no sugar deal. You know what? Sugar does make me feel groggy and sleepy. I had some grain, some gluten this week at the end of the vacation. I had some sugar at the end of the 10 days, the last 2 days. It makes me really, really groggy, makes me bloated, and makes me tired. It was fun. I had some great desserts, but I can't. I need to be productive. I need to be at the top of my game. So Maria, I choose to feel better than my palate and my stomach doesn't roll me. So some people, they just want what they want. They want the sweets, they want the whatever it is, and they're like, I will deal with the consequence. I love feeling energetic. I love feeling focused. And so anything that slows me down, I have a daughter. I'm always like, not my older daughter, my younger daughter. She needs to change her diet. And I'm always like, I love my mindset. I love productivity. I love feeling good so much that it trumps, you know, what I'm eating, what my taste buds want, my appetite. My appetite has to succumb or it has to bow down to the fact that I want to have a productive day. So just remember that if you have somebody, or if you know somebody, or if you are somebody who bows down to your appetite, I want you to bow down to Christ, first of all. That's who we ultimately bow down to, but he wants us to be focused. He wants us to be prosperous in all that we do. And if our diet is sabotaging our day, making us tired, making us sick, then we need to get some things in order. Okay. This is not a health talk today, though. This is a focus order, a focus session today. Sorry. So we need to create some non-negotiable focus blocks. So we need to schedule some work times, which we'll do for the reset challenge. At first, we'll do a 30-minute block together. I will do more coaching on focus and resetting in the coming days. That means no phones, no tabs, no interruptions. And then we need to close any open loops. So that means if I have all the tabs open, using my brain dump pad to make sure that I'm closing, I can literally close out the tabs, but I'm also giving myself permission to say, I understand you don't want to forget that. Write it down here so you won't forget it before I go to bed, looking at this list. And then I'm going to show you ways I optimize my planning, my scheduling. And since I have so much to do, I'm going to show you how I am able to go through and decide what I need to do every single day to stay productive. So write down all the unfinished tasks, tugging at your mental energy, either finish, delegate, or delete them. Did you hear that? Unfinished tasks. You have to decide either I'm going to finish it before I clocked out. I'm going to delegate it. That means ask somebody else to do it, whether it is somebody in the family or get a VA, or delete them and say, you know what? I have so many to-do lists. Sometimes my to-do lists get pages long, and I'll have to just go through and say, you know what? I really wanted to do XYZ. It's been on this page for like a week now or 2 weeks now, and I keep bumping it down in priority. Do I really need to do that one thing? And if I'm like, I wanted to do it, it sounded like a good idea, but it's not going to serve the purpose of my ultimate goal here. For ending the year strong, I'm just going to take it off and just give myself permission to let it go. So also, let's see, your brain can't focus if it's carrying a lot of mental tabs. Brain dump. Okay. Brain dump. I also have different apps on my phone. I have one on the top of my phone if you have an Apple phone, and that is just some bullet pointed things that I have. One is for my groceries. So that way you look and you're forgetting something, instead of writing it on a note on the refrigerator, which I forget when I leave the store. I just have little notes that I put up there. I have dry erase boards for things that are more business orientated. And then I have Trello boards for things that are informational that I don't want to lose, that I want to just file away for later. I have a whole system for that. And you guys, I've done a course on how to use a Trello board, but that's for a different day. And then let's see here. Shift from the default to the directed mode. So start your day by directing your focus through journaling or prayer intention setting. I did this for years when we were super broke because we lost everything. I started with prayer. I used to have a very pointed time of every single day. Lord, thank you, what I was thankful for. Then I would put out what I was believing God for. And then I did some other areas. I do have a journal on Amazon that's created just for that. And I can put a link for that later. And then here, we're going to just be wrapping it up. But the main thing is that we need to reset our focus. And so we're going to create a framework. And so for the mind is, what is distracting me mentally is the question to reset the mind. Okay, what is distracting me mentally? It could be fear of the future. It could be you have a child that is not doing what they need to be doing right now. What is distracting me mentally? And then if it is something that is distracting you that is relational, it's different than something that is business related that is distracting you. So there's some different tools we'll be giving for that. But the first thing I want you to do is just write down what is distracting me mentally. And then emotion is what am I anxious or guilty about? I told you this morning I woke up and I had some anxiousness on my spirit. So I had to deal with that through the word, through prayer. I put on some praise music. I made sure to be in the word, and I had to get my spirit quiet before the Lord. And in that quiet time, he definitely met me, and he allowed me to step back and say, okay, I'm going to refocus now. I'm not going to be anxious because it serves no purpose. It doesn't solve any problem. Remember that. Anxiousness serves no purpose. It solves no problems. Neither does fear or any of the other opposite fruits of the spirit. So we can reframe through gratitude. When you're anxious about something, it's because you're worrying about something. It's because you're not happy about something. So we need to reframe through gratitude. And also, one of the things that helps me to reframe it is if I'm anxious because I'm upset with somebody or about something, I can look at one thing I need to change. I can ask the Lord, like, what is it that I need to fix in my life? And I'll tell you right now, if you're having any kind of anxiousness or any type of emotional issue because of somebody else's actions, then the best thing to do is concentrate on something you need to improve or need to fix, because it gets your mind off of what somebody else is not doing or what you're afraid about. Maybe the thing they're doing is a scary thing, or maybe the thing they're not doing is an unloving thing. Whatever it is, reframe by refocusing on yourself, gratitude, and then what you can change or fix, because you only have the ability to change yourself. Okay, what you think, what you say, what you do. So body, what do I need to regulate? Your body needs water. Every morning, drink water. We do that in the group. Every morning you put your sunshine out, make your bed, drink a glass of water, read the Bible. It might be needing to get more sleep. It could be needing to go out for a daily walk. If you're sedentary, get out and start walking. Get a sweatshirt on, go out, move your body. And then spirit, what is God saying to focus on? So we need to have time where we're sitting, laying before Lord. I like to just lay down prostrate on the ground, just flat, have worship music on, and just like have my hands down and just fully laid, my whole body spread out. And I just like to lay before Lord and make sure that there's no distractions. Have a little notebook there and just be like, Lord, I just need to hear from you. Lord, how do you want me to go about my day? Just be quiet before Lord, like, what's important for you today, Lord? Like, what's important to you? What do you want me to do for your kingdom today? How can I further your mission for my life? These are the kinds of questions I ask, okay? So challenges for this week are identify one major outcome for the rest of the year. I don't want to, that's a lot. I'm just going to stop right now because we're going to do this on the reset challenge. I want you just to be focusing on those. What's distracting me mentally? What am I anxious or guilty about? What do I need to regulate as far as my body's to have more energy? And what does God say to focus on? I think that's enough. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information because I want you to be able to focus. So just remember this is that we don't want to be on the default mode network in our mind, which is reactive, it's scattered, it takes away from productivity. We want to instead be on a task positive network, intentional, goal driven, and grounded in our thinking. So don't oversleep, don't hit the snooze button. Ask God, what do I need to let go of? And I will see you next week on Wednesday at 12:30 Central Standard Time for Elevate Collective Coaching. If you want more information, then you can click on the link in the bio. It's a place for women to come and grow together. Important. And you have a work to do on this earth. And so I want to help you be all that God has created you to be. I'm EmmaSara with Elevate Collective. So remember, y'all go out and live the life that you want to be remembered for. Thanks for watching.